Good evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. As of today, we're at 2,547 cases in Ohio with 8 cases in Greene County. We continue with 1 death in the county, and that's from Cedarville. Our thoughts and prayers goes out to the family in Cedarville. I want to remind the residents that what we do now matters, and it will have a tremendous impact down the road. These numbers are only going to continue to increase. So I encourage you, I implore you to take all the necessary and possible precautions you can take. Please follow the basic protective measures. Those measures now include face masks. Joining us today, Kat Walter from the Community Foundation will speak on face masks and what resources are available to be able to do some yourselves. I want to personally thank the many residents that have emailed me and called to express gratitude for the actions that we've taken to encourage physical distancing, reducing the crowds in our downtown area, the placement of hand sanitizer stations throughout the downtown, and the placement of digital signs on the outskirts of town to provide residents and visitors with timely updates and reminders of the current conditions. I will remind our viewers that the General Assembly of Ohio has passed legislation which Governor DeWine has signed, which allows for municipal income tax filings and payments to extend through July 15 of 2020. And also want to note that we continue to watch and monitor the resources that are being made both by the state and the federal government, much needed resources that we're looking to have access to ensure that we have resources that we need to aid us during this pandemic and help us recover once we enter recovery mode. I'm now going to pass the floor or pass the mic to Council Member Kevin Stokes. Kevin, thank you for joining us tonight.
Sure, thank you, Josue. So in the midst of all else of what's going on, we've got some real important dates coming up. So today is actually Census Day, the official Census Day. Just want to reiterate and echo some of the presentation that Mayor Pam did last week. And if you look over Mayor Pam's right shoulder, you see a Census 2020 bag up there. Thank you for the prop. So again, if you can go to my2020census.gov. You can find all the information that you need there. You can actually fill out your census online. Also on that website, there's several other important dates. They share a timeline of when the follow-on activities will occur with reach out to college campuses, door-to-door canvassing, and other outreaches to ensure that everyone does get counted in the census. Additionally, I would encourage folks to go to voteohio.gov to find out information about voting. We are still allowed until April 28th to participate with mail-in voting in the state of Ohio. And as a matter of fact, the Yellow Springs News has an insert in this week's issue of the actual ballot request form. So you can fill that out, send that in, and have your mail-in ballot sent to you. And again, the election is going through April 28th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And now we will hear from Mayor Pam. Mayor, thank you for joining us tonight.
It is my pleasure. Thank you, Josue. And thank you to those of you from the village and the township who have tuned in. Just a couple things that struck me today as I was taking a look at census information and listening to Governor DeWine, and he said it is in everyone's interest to have everyone counted in the census. And as Kevin has explained, this is federal money that's going to be filtering down through the states and Yellow Springs to do some very important things. So remember, you have at this point approximately 4.5 hours, 4 hours and 40 minutes to get in your census if you're going to do it online tonight. I know 4 of you contacted me in different ways after the last town hall and proudly said, I did it, Mayor Pam, I got the census done. So hopefully I'll get a few more of those notifications here in the next day or so. I also wanted to let you know, I had one question about, is it too late to sign up to work for the census? Well, you'll get two messages if you go to, again, the site that Kevin just referenced. If you go to that site, they will tell you that the US Census Bureau continues to accept applications for temporary part-time positions with the 2020 census. But then if you scroll down a bit, you'll see an announcement that says COVID-19 updates based on continuing assessments. The US Census Bureau is suspending 2020 census field operations until updates are available, meaning of course they're going to be pushing the dates back into April or August rather, as to when people will come around, be knocking on your door. So being responsible for filling out the census, you will be. It's just a matter of if you'd like to go online and do it or wait for a door knock. Second thing I would like to share with you is that Josue received notice a couple days ago that the Yellow Springs wave has spread to our neighbors south of Dayton in the city village of Oakwood. Oakwood has adopted what they call their neighborhood wave, and they based it on the Yellow Springs wave. So every night at 6, their citizens are going out to the end of their driveways or to the corner of their block and waving to each other and making some noise. So I let Mayor Bill Duncan of Oakwood know that we were very pleased they were doing this. And he said, oh, no, we're copying you and we give you all credit. So I wanted that shout out. And I actually had 3 people out in my neighborhood tonight. So good news, good job, keep it up. Back to you, Josue.
Thank you, Mayor Pam. And I also want to share what Dr. Acton has shared, not just today, but in previous press conferences on asking folks to share the value of kindness. And you've seen it for the past several weeks that kindness has been the banner hanging over our town before this pandemic started, and it will continue through it. And we're exemplifying that value in our community. And we've seen other folks in other communities adopting it. So we very much appreciate that because the time calls for us to be kind. Now I'll pass the floor on to Colin Altman, Fire Chief.
Thank you, Josue. Miami Township Fire Chief Colin Altman, coming to you live today from Dino's Cappuccinos with some important information. Some of you who follow us on social media, us being the fire department, may have seen that we recently purchased a drone. And the drone, so far we've used it for pretty much taking pictures of a fire station under construction. There was one covert operation in an undisclosed foreign country, but we can't talk about that. But actually tonight I need to talk about something seriously. With the COVID-19 pandemic going on, the risk it poses to our staff, we're actually going to be revolutionarily utilizing this drone now on certain calls. That if you give information to the dispatcher that you may have a fever, be coughing, or think you're positive for COVID-19, when the crew gets there, they'll send the drone to your door first. It's actually equipped with an arm so it can knock. Then there's a camera and a microphone so they can interview you via the drone. State of the art, and it's a complete and total April Fool's joke. So April Fool's, Census Day, and April 1st. Sorry, Josue. Gonna let that one go. But a couple serious things for real this time. Masks. Many people are sewing masks following some guidelines from CDC and from Greene County Public Health. There's some info on the Yellow Springs Community Foundation website, I believe, as well. The CDC guidance on this is changing. At first, CDC kind of had a meh take on whether or not you should wear a mask if you're not a healthcare provider. That is changing now, and thinking that maybe it's a good idea to wear a cloth mask. So, if you want to wear one when you're outside or going to Tom's, go right ahead. It may actually do some good for you and for others. And it also saves PPE for healthcare providers, physicians, law enforcement officers, et cetera. So Go ahead, sew those masks, wear them. They should help you out quite a bit. Speaking of PPE, I want to give a shout out this evening to a couple people who have helped us out with donations. Excuse me. Pamela Funderburg, thank you for donating some gloves to us. Andy and Beth Holyoke for some masks and some N95s. Thank you. Unfortunately, a mystery person or persons who donated a bunch of gloves, a case of gloves, and 3 different types of coffee to us, which was greatly appreciated. Thank you. And of course, our good friend Fingers McGillicuddy, who donated a bunch of gloves as well. So in closing, I just want to remind everyone to be safe, be kind, be hopeful. We're in this together and we'll get through it together. And as always, if you need us at Miami Township Fire Rescue, call us. Our number is simple, 911, or you can call us non-emergency at 767-7842 if you just want to talk, shoot the breeze, that kind of stuff. We're there. Sometimes we're bored, so we'd love to talk to you. That's all we've got today from Dino's Cappuccinos here in Yellow Springs with Dino. Back to you, Josue.
Thank you so much, Chief. And now I will hand over the floor to Chief Brian Carlson, who, by the way, he never stops working. He's been out on a call and is joining us in from his patrol car. Chief.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Josue. Thank you, Chief. A couple of notes for everyone. There have been a few scams going around regarding the SNAP program, that's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and the WIC program, Women, Infants, and Children. Please try to use your contacts for those should you have any questions, but you can always contact us and then the Attorney General's office as well if you suspect that there's a scam. We've also been getting some reports of phone call scams going on, particularly targeting our senior population and folks who live alone. So a note from me to you, to make it easy, never, ever, ever give out personal or financial information over the phone unless you made the call and you know the person you're talking with. The IRS, the Social Security Administration, the FBI, law enforcement will not call you and ask for personal information over the phone. Some advice too for those of us who have family or friends who may become forgetful. I left a couple of cards by my mom's phones around the house, and I went over them with her. And when she would talk on the phone, she could see the cards, and I would have these reminders there for her to take a look at. It was very helpful. She always called me after she received the call, but she always told me what the call was about and that she did what we talked about. Everything's going okay at the PD. Spirits are up. Our officers are out. We have 2 officers on at all times. We are 24/7, as you know. If you need anything, contact us at 767-7206. Back to you, Josue.
Chief, thank you so much. And now we will hear from Karen Walter from the Yellow Springs Community Foundation.
Hi, my name is Kat Walter, and I'm with Yellow Springs Community Foundation. I have a couple announcements. One is that volunteers are rapidly producing recommended face masks here in the community, and they will provide them to healthcare workers, friends care, essential workers in the village and Miami Township, and our volunteers in the field. If you would like to join this effort to make masks or to donate, please contact Yellow Springs Community Foundation at YSCF@yscf.org or call 937-767-2655. And I believe there is a visual of the guidelines for making the masks that Josue has on the slides. And then I have a demonstration of a mask. It's simple cloth and it's sprayed with Lysol. It has elastic ends, but they're also making them with tie to tie on your head. So they're a little bit of protection. They're helpful. And please contact us if you would like more information about this. The Community Foundation is also providing free, brief, over-the-phone legal information on a range of topics to villagers and residents of Miami Township. Those interested should contact YSCF at yscf.org, and the number again is 937-767-2655. we will connect callers with the correct attorney, and they will offer some advice. And if people needing longer term advice, then they can discuss that with the attorney at that time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat. And now we will hear from Brian Hausch, Council President.
All right, thanks, Josue. And good evening, villagers, community members, and everyone else that's watching. I wanted to talk about a couple things briefly. First of those being that we are doing our best to make sure that you can participate both in these virtual town hall meetings as well as upcoming council meetings that are also going to be virtual, as we want to respect the physical distancing and all the other aspects to keep everyone safe. So I think some of you are aware, because you're tuning in right now, that in terms of listening to these meetings, you have a variety of options. If you're on, have cable, you can tune into our community access station. We've got this live on YouTube and our Facebook page, Village of Yellow Springs. Our YouTube station is Community Access Yellow Springs. You are also able to participate via Zoom. And so if you want to be one of the talking heads along with us, we welcome that, because we want to make sure that you can be involved in these meetings. But more importantly, we want to make sure that you're able to provide your questions and comments. And we've again provided a variety of ways. YouTube and Facebook allow you to use the chat options. You know that you can email to P.O.Rourke at yso.com. We've also got a line open, 937-767-3402. And especially when we're thinking about our upcoming council meetings, which we are going to do virtually, because we want to make sure that we are modeling safe behavior. We are going to be able to make sure that you can call in if you want to comment on any of the things we're talking about. And all of this information is in the Yellow Springs News this week, and it's also out on social media. But make sure to contact us if you need any help getting access to these meetings. So related to that, I did want to tee up what we're going to be talking about on April 6th at the council meeting. We are limiting our discussions as much as possible to urgent topics that are related to the COVID-19 crisis. So there are 3 topics we'll be talking about on April 6th, this Monday. One of those is going to be getting the revolving loan fund online so that we can provide other funding to support our small local businesses in town. The second thing we're going to be talking about is whether we need to declare a state of emergency. And we would do that primarily to make sure that we can access all the possible funding and benefits that we need as a village. I'm really excited about how all of our community leaders have stepped up, and I want to give kudos to our village team for keeping our services going and making sure that we're responding to our community members' needs. And the third topic is going to be talking about public spaces and how we keep those open, balancing the idea that we've all got to respect physical distancing to make sure that we keep our community members safe. So final thing I want to say, and you can see the kindness banner is flying behind me, is I want to make sure that we're all trying to be kind and be understanding of the different, motivations that people have, some of the, confusion that's going on, the anxiety that we have, and just respecting each other and recognizing that we're all trying to do the best that we can. This is a quickly evolving situation. But again, I want to thank all of our community members. I want to thank all of our workers on the front line that are keeping food on our tables, that are making sure that we are staying healthy and safe. And I just ask that everybody maybe tone down the social media frenzy and understand that we're all trying to catch up. And the best thing that we can do is be empathetic and talk to each other in a way that help us all understand that we're trying to protect ourselves and each other. So thanks a lot. Josue, back to you.
Thank you so much, Brian. All right, and we will now take your questions. We've put up on the banner ways that you can submit your questions. Brian referenced them. You may call in your questions or you can email them in. We've also are taking questions via Facebook and our YouTube chat box. So I will now turn to the questions.
Josue, this is
Yes.
Jalen.
Hi, Jalen.
Hi, I was just wondering, is there a special phone number for the hearing impaired?
Is there a phone number for the hearing impaired? We have a sign language interpreter that can be seen through the YouTube channel and the channel 5. So,
I mean, if they have questions to call in.
oh, if they have questions to call in,
Yeah,
email will probably be best.
okay.
And that email is, we're gonna put it up on the screen so folks can email in that question. Okay, we have the email information up on the screen. Thank you, Jalen. Okay, the first question, and this one's for Chief Cullen. There were questions regarding the drones. Is that information concrete or just a joke?
Well, that utilization is not true. That was the April Fool's joke. But we do have a drone, Drone 81. We purchased a joint purchase with our Firefighters Association. We've got 1 drone pilot right now, and I believe 3 more in training. Yeah, and you have to be a drone pilot, believe it or not. And it'll be used for, beside taking photos, aerial photos of our fire station construction, it'll be utilized for daytime search and rescue operations, hazardous materials, spill, and crowd estimates for events. So we're excited to get into the modern era and give the drone a whirl. But right now, there's no plans for patient care. So until we can get it certified as an EMT or a paramedic, but for now, no.
Thank you, Colin. We have more. Okay, we don't have additional questions. Okay. During the last virtual town hall, we had, or right at the conclusion of our town hall, we had someone submit questions. The questions required some research, and we do not have those responses yet. One of the questions were, what are we doing to set up temporary hospital or medical assistant facilities? And we don't have concrete information on that. I know Colin has been part of the Emergency Management Association meetings and various other hospital service providers. There are folks working on those plans, but we do not have information. I don't have information to make public available. Colin, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
No, I mean, at this point, that's still a evolving project on the county level and regionally as well. The state is working with the county on both overflow hospital facilities as well as quarantine facilities should those be needed. But those are still in development, and not to sound like Mike DeWine, but hopefully we should know more about those in a few days. So.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I know folks have seen the news around the country. New York has had a need and has an unmet need for hospital beds and other facilities, and they're doing converting spaces to act as medical facilities. We're not there yet as a state, and I know that Governor DeWine and his leadership and others around the state are doing all they can to ensure that we are ramping up capacity to handle the cases that that we'll have in the state. But there's also things that we can do now to help flatten the curve, contain the spreading of the virus, and protect each other. So please continue to take all the protective measures that you can, take all the protective measures that you've been advised to take. This is how we'll contain the spreading of the virus and how we will protect ourselves and each other during this time. Okay, that's it for questions. Any of my colleagues want to share any additional information before we close? Okay. I want to remind our viewers, our residents, our neighbors that we will continue to host these virtual town halls. There may be those meetings where we don't have a whole lot to share as the pandemic and here in Ohio is still unfolding. But I want you to be reassured that we are doing all that we can to build the resources here in our community to help everyone in our community.
Josue, there's a question in the chat on the
Okay,
Zoom group
there's a
chat.
question. Are landlords in town being encouraged to give some leeway to their tenants? Absolutely. There's several efforts underway to help reduce the burden for tenants. So landlords and other property owners have been reached out to encourage them to have some leniency with their tenants. We understand that it's very difficult. Some landlords are dependent on those rent payments to make their own mortgage payments and pay their own bills. So we understand that it's a very sensitive balance. So while we're reaching out to these landlords, encourage them to show leniency, we also are directing them to resources that are available to them as business owners, as landlords, so that they can also meet their financial obligations. So there's a delicate balance there. We're reaching out to landlords for both opportunities that are available to them and also to help their tenants. Thank you. That's a very, very good question. And now I want to expand on that answer that the county courts are not processing foreclosures and evictions notice. There's a hold on all those proceedings. We don't know how long it's going to last, but I understand for now it's through May or until some point in May. That may be extended. You've also heard at the national level and at the state level, there's policy being put in place to defer mortgage payments or allow mortgage payments to be deferred towards the end of the year. So there's a lot of movement happening around housing, affordable housing, and having some leniency around mortgage payments. So we hope that our community here in Yellow Springs is able to benefit from those resources. Thank you. Okay, I see we have a question from Facebook. Well, I think this is a statement. Thank you to the Yellow Springs leadership for serving and supporting this resilient community. Thank you. We really appreciate hearing that. I want to give a recognition to the MTFR, the fire department, our police department, our public works team who are working tirelessly to ensure that all essential services continue to operate now, and they're putting in their contingency plans to ensure that if a portion of their teams are affected by this pandemic, that we will continue to provide all those services to our community. So I want to recognize them for all their hard work and their leadership within their department. Thank you. All right, with that being said, we look forward to partnering with you in this endeavor as we look to get through this. It's a difficult time, and we will get through this. And we will get through this together while also ensuring the essential services, food, shelter, and a safety net for all of our residents. We are here as a resource, as a partner, and as a community. Please connect with us on all the resources we made available, and we look forward to having you in these virtual town halls. And with that, I wish you a good night.